This episode of Dispatches from Planet Albany is brought to you with support by New York State United Teachers, which represents more than 600,000 educators and school-related professionals in New York. Dispatches is also supported by the public affairs firm O'Donnell & Associates. For more information, check out o'donnellsolutions.com.
He said to me, Crystal, you have to debate the budget. Like, what? How am I going to debate the budget? I haven't gone to any of the hearings. I have no idea what has been said. I don't know, but you're going to have to do it. So I said, no, wait a minute. Let's just think this through, Mr. Speaker. Why don't we just ask Deborah Glick to do it?
I've also declared war on potholes, so here's the first shot across the bow.
Well, as you know, with Planet Albany, there's always something that makes the planet turn.
And it's this amazing view of D.C., and Eddie Vedder comes out. And he goes, you have a cigarette? And I've never smoked in my life, but if I had, I wish that was the moment.
And this strategy takes us from potholes to knotholes.
I would like to say it was a pleasure, Mr. Kim. But I'm on the road.
I'm David Lombardo, and this is Dispatches from Planet Albany, a WCNY podcast about power and politics in New York. And on today's episode, we're joined by Tusk Strategies partner Shontell Plummer to reflect on the end to the legislative session, which was abbreviated this year because of the extended budget season, as well as the firm departure date that the legislative leaders stuck to. So we're going to consider whether this was a productive session and reflect on some of what moved or didn't move in the final week. But first, we have an important scheduling announcement for listeners, which is we will have some disruptions in the fall broadcast schedule because my wife is scheduled to give birth in early October, so I will be taking some leave.
You know, you are an MFer. Why didn't you tell me this before we got on this Zoom?
I meant to tell you the last time we taped, but I didn't feel like we had a good
trash.
chance.
You are trash. I'll curse you out. You know what? The public doesn't need to hear this. I will curse you out afterwards. Oh my God. But you shouldn't be telling people your business. I wouldn't tell anybody my business.
Well, at this point, we only have 4 months to go, and
I would still wait till I popped out. Like
she's showing, and people.
Is she showing?
Oh, very much so. Lawmakers have begun texting me who know about it, and I felt bad that I didn't get a chance to. I wanted to tell you on the show, and I didn't tell you last time.
You know, this is telling. I have you all at my house. I make it nice. You get invited to the party of the year. You even got an invitation for the barbecue. And you don't even let me know this?
Well, I wanted to get a reaction on the air.
Now you have gone from friend to work associate. Okay. Let's continue.
Are you excited, though, at least?
I can't discuss my feelings because you're a work associate, and I don't discuss feelings with work associates. I only discuss my personal feelings with friends.
Well, if I could get some personal feelings on how you're doing right now with a weekend to recover from the session, what are you going through? What sort of stage of, I don't know, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance are you in?
So Friday there was like relief, like when the speaker adjourned, I was like, oh, thank God. And Saturday I went roller skating, me and my husband. Sunday we did a little shopping because my husband was like, you know, you've been a calm chick all session. You didn't really pop off. You really didn't do much. Let's go shopping. And today I'm depressed. Today I'm like, I don't want anyone near me. I don't want to talk about legislation.
Uh-oh.
To be frank, I don't even want to be out. I mean, I'm at work right now, but I don't want to be out work. Like, I am over it. And I think that is the feeling of many people. You know who I feel really bad for? All jokes aside, you know who I feel really bad for right now? Members of primaries. I couldn't imagine going through the session that they just went to. And now I got to knock on doors. The Knicks are winning. New York is crazy. And I got to knock on doors. Please.
On Bradley Tusk's podcast, you described this session as a quote-unquote dud. And Gothamist wrote a story that described this year's session as, quote, the least productive of the Hochul era because few bills made it through both houses compared to...
That's actually not... I mean, like, it was like maybe 100 less.
Sure.
Passed both houses.
Well, I guess for starters, though, do you try to assess the session based on vibes, based on bill quantity, something else? What's your way of...
Okay, let's grade it. Ready? Vibes. C-. everyone is crabby all session because budget, like, let me tell you, I remember my last year, the budget maybe went a week late, and I was so unhinged. For a budget to be 2 months late, I would have been like, you'd have been like, hi, poof. I just would have been killing, assassinating people, walking down the hallways. Don't look at me. Like, staff is so burnt out. When I say so burnt out, I've spoken to staff on both sides. They were like crying with their eyes. They're not crying, but like their eye. You know when someone looks sad?
They're dead inside.
That's how they're dead inside. If I were them, close office for a month. The month of June, there is nothing you need to talk to me about. If I am a legislative staffer, I know marriages probably broke up. I know marriages are close to breaking up. Like, because when you're doing this and you're just like, you're coming home late, budget was always this hard for staff and people with families and even single people, but you would come home late and your partner's like looking at you like, hey, I didn't make these kids by myself. Like, you still got to be a parent. You still got to be a person. So C- on vibes. Accomplishments. I don't care about how many bills pass each house. I did care a lot when I was counsel and chief of staff. I was like, I got to beat the Republicans. Like every year I would like keep pushing to pass more and more bills. But then you get to a place where like some of these bills are one houses. So like, I don't really pay attention to that. Bills pass both houses. I think it's important because I think it's a greater chance of those bills to become law. I think they had a good budget. Members wouldn't say they had a good budget, but they passed some stuff. And even though session was like in this weird like standstill, they were able to get like, I think the surveillance pricing bill is not a bill I would be running to pass, but it's a bill that passed, which is significant. They did redistricting, did have some significant legislation that squeaked through the last week and a half, 2 weeks. So, for an election year, they actually didn't do that bad. Like I give them a B minus.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of judging them based on the quantity of the bills.
It's never quantity. And if you're going to judge by quantity, so like back in the day, the Senate Republicans would pass a whole bunch of bills, but they were all one houses. Like, don't get into the number game. Get into the legislation and how it impacts people's lives. And, and how hard, because they also passed like that redistricting bill, like that's a hard thing to swallow and get people to pass.
And it took long to debate.
Yeah. The budget was, that was hard to get people to swallow and pass too. Like even the data center bill, like, I'm hearing from people that represent different parts of the state, they had some issues with it. So it should be, how can you get members in a short period of time to pass legislation that will actually have impact? They did pass stuff that had impact. So I would give it like a BB minus. The one thing I didn't like, there was a back and forth with the governor and a reporter, and they were like, because of your budget, chick. I don't mean to call her chick, but I'm just like paraphrasing, like
sure,
talking for the cats listening outside. The reporter was like, hey, because of you, the legislature didn't pass any bills. And she was like, well, I stopped them from passing bills while they were waiting for the budget.
Exactly.
She is correct. I do think they could have done more legislation while they were waiting for the budget to pass. But the issue is like, staff was burnt. Like they're doing both ends. I think they could have moved more bills through committee. I think they could have been briefing things. There was a lot of like, it's hard because I'm a former staffer, but nothing stops. If the bill didn't have financial impact, Shontell, Plummer, would have passed bills and kept passing bills. I'm like, all right, you want to hold up the budget because, that has fiscal impact. And I would have passed everything I wanted to pass or had conversations because it wasn't like they were burning the midnight oil. They had weekends free. And, back in the day, like when, I won't even talk about it, but back in the day when other people were governor, they had us there till like 2, 3, 4 in the morning during budget time. So I'm hearing, people are respecting work-life balance a little bit more. People stayed to like 10, 11, and sometimes not even that. I don't want to like downplay it, but they just weren't doing like the 3, 4 a.m.s. So I do think they could have found ways the Wonder Twins should have tag team and passed legislation outside of that. Because if I'm Hochul moving forward, I'm pushing for longer budgets. And that's how she's going to keep eating up sessions. And you're going to have to learn how to do both things, or the governor is basically going to like hijack your legislative sessions.
Clearly, staff is run ragged during the budget process.
Ragged.
But there are lawmakers who, despite what they tell the media and their constituents about how they're working hard on the budget, they've got time in March and April and May when it drags on like this. And I don't understand why there's not a world in which the respective committee chairs get together and say, this is the bills that I want to work on. Can we get together? Can you and I roll up our sleeves without central staff and begin the practice of lobbying our members and getting them all in a row? Because it doesn't seem like any of that happens unless you're Amy Paulin.
I agree that I think legislators can work on things that they're aligned with. Like if I'm a senator, I can work with the assembly on what I'm aligned. And if I know a bill is going to impact certain people, or certain people are going to feel a way about it, have initiate conversations. The issue is like a lot of times it's hard to describe the technicalities or even the issues that central staff will have in order, like certain houses, like the Senate member driven, Assembly member driven-ish, with a little dash of central staff.
We have some concerns.
Right. So it's a little dash of central staff. There's only so much you can do. I'm just concerned for the legislature that if we go down this continued path of we can't do anything, it's going to be hard for them. So I don't know if that means working on bills in your off session on things that you really want to pass, and like working with members and central staff, like talking to central staff. Hey, read my bill. Like, what are the issues? If you want to pass X, Y, and Z, maybe that summertime is the time to educate and like really work on it, because I think moving forward, this is what we're going to see. I think the governor is going to hijack budgets.
And still get her way with confirmations. The Senate still took up dozens and dozens and dozens of gubernatorial nominees without so much as...
Oh, stop for a second. Let's not act like this is not the House that rejected the first judicial nomination before.
What have you done for me lately?
Let's not act like the Senate is a bunch of, punks and like they just like, no one's walking all over Leader Stewart Cousins. David Mack, depending on what reporting you see, some reporting says he had an appointment to go to, so that's why he left and didn't care about his nomination to the MTA. I'm hearing scuttlebutt that the Senate was like, nah, we ain't interested. I think there were some other confirmations that they had issues with that, the governor and them had talks and walked through the process. We're forgetting this year that Liz Krueger was out. So with Senator Krueger, who was the finance chair, she had a lot of opinions on nominees. She had a lot of opinion on process. She had time to we forget the significance of Liz Krueger. So it's end of session. What you see publicly, that doesn't mean the legislature weren't getting the names the day before. If somebody went through committee on Tuesday, they weren't getting the names Monday. They were getting names a little bit in advance, and staff were vetting them and reviewing their stuff.
Well, if you believe what Senate Dems were pushing out, they basically were saying as of Memorial Day weekend that they had gotten no names.
When you know too much, I'm not getting into it.
Take everything with a grain of salt.
My understanding was that it wasn't until May 31st that a decision was made on the nominations. I think there was notice. I think they knew that there were a bunch of nominations.
For planning purposes only. Yeah, okay. So we've heard that from previous Dispatches guest, Beth Garvey, who said that they would kind of get a tip
you would
or
know
clues.
Who's coming.
Yeah.
Yes. You would get, okay, hey, these are the... And let's be clear. 85% of the nominations, I hate to say this, aren't people of significance.
Sure.
The judges are significant, and any chair or anything that requires people to come in person. But a lot of these names are just regular people just trying to be some local board, upstate, downstate, Long Island, whatever, the Geneseo, whatever. no one cares. It's always the big ticket names. Judges are always a big thing.
State Commission on Corrections, yep.
OCM, they replaced Felicia Reed with John. What was it?
John Kagia. Smooth talking.
I knew
John
what
Kagia.
I knew. Wait, hold on. I knew what I knew because, like, you remember after Chris left, I was like, well, we'll see how everything goes.
She was not long for this world.
Anyways, but yes, the Senate did a good job. The leader understands her responsibility to push through nominations. It was just a challenging year. And I think had the leader put these names really before the conference, before the budget was done, I think we would have had a hostage situation. I could see members being like, why am I doing this nomination if Hochul's making me still do budget?
Right.
Or, blah, blah, blah. It just wouldn't have been a good situation.
There were a number of things, though, where the legislature didn't come to any sort of two-way agreements on, let alone a three-way agreement with the governor. And this includes things like something to catch the 450,000 people on the essential plan who are going to be scrambling for new coverage this summer, or the...
but they said the governor didn't want to do it. I think the leader said that, like, publicly. Like,
yeah, yes, very much so. But I don't know what would stop them from doing some sort of two-way bill that ultimately gets vetoed.
You have to pay for it.
But at least a symbolic bone to these people.
That's it. I mean, it's something that costs money. Like,
sure.
You can't, like, I know we all think, I mean, especially me as a lobbyist, that they're just passing whatever, pow, pow, pow. But, like, you got to have, like, some sense and sensibility. You got to, like, I think that's a big deal bill to, like, raise people's hopes up and thinking that this might actually become, like, a law and, like, help people. And then, like, it doesn't.
What do you make of the continued failure by departing Assemblymember Deborah Glick to get her plastic packaging reduction bill across the aisle? I mean, to me, it speaks like...
too many people that oppose it.
Right.
There's so many people that oppose it. It's just like gangbusters. Like, this it's never passed unless they figure out ways to meet in the middle. And it seems if something keeps passing, like it passes in the Senate every year for a couple of years, but like if you keep doing something and it keeps getting vetoed or it fails to have the votes in another house, at some point people got to come to the table with industry and figure it out.
Although I think they've done that already, and I think they're just losing the optics battle. I think they haven't done a good job persuading their colleagues.
I want to be clear. No, they're not. They haven't done that with industry because industry is still out there like gangbusters.
They're always going to oppose it.
People are hiring in the boatloads consultants to kill that bill versus I have a handful of people that don't like the bill, but we're going to plug our nose. It's not what we wanted, but we got some wins and we got them to like weather it down a little bit where it's at least like we can stomach it.
So you take those concerns seriously? Because I view them as...
I do if you want a bill passed.
Oh, no, I often have at least the perception from the business community, which is hold the line by any means possible and don't give an inch. And that's our position because eventually we're going to, lose on this and make them negotiate against themselves down and down and down. And so they water their own proposals down.
There will come a time where the speaker and even assembly members will be like, all right, we can't keep getting the shit beat out of us for not passing this. When I was in the legislature, what was it? Safe staffing. And it was something like, the hospitals fell away, nurses fell away, whatever reasons, people couldn't come to an agreement. And I like to call them gang summits. I had multiple gang summits during my tenure with opposing views. And they'd be like, I'm passing something. Get to the table and figure it out because I am passing something. And I got the people on the other side with me. And we're going to pass something. And you need to sit down and figure out what are your issues and how you can there's A to C. Let's see how we can get to B. And both people would be pissed. But when both people are pissed, that's how there's a good negotiation. And I feel right now everyone's just like strident, like, no, business is like, no. And like the advocates are like, no, we've made enough. Like one day, the speaker and the leader are going to, like the Bloods and the Crips, they're gonna, she's going to have her red scarf. Carl's going to have his blue scarf, and they're going to we're going to pass the bill. And either you come to the table and do it or not. And when that happens, that's when people really understand the severity of the situation. And then they actually come to the table and actually negotiate.
The example you give, though, is one where I think nurses and healthcare professionals are a much more sympathetic group than, say, the environment, whereas people aren't necessarily motivated to get up and move heaven and earth for the environment. And whereas people are making the argument that this is going to make your family's juice more expensive, this is going to make other items you're looking to normally buy more expensive, I don't think that that's as good a boogeyman as the hospitals and nursing homes.
I gave you one example. I'm sure if I really sat down and there are tons of shit that I passed.
But I just think that there's a while before the legislative leaders feel pressure on this issue, especially in the assembly. I think we're nowhere close to getting a vote on PREA.
I don't think we're any place close right now, but like, I don't know. There are things that like eventually like the one thing I know with lobbying and the one thing I know with the legislature is eventually things that you never thought you could do, you do.
Do you think, though, this session has shown that the environmentalists maybe don't really have a ton of sway in Albany?
I'm not going to comment on the environmentalists. You know that I'm like, look, I want to live in a world where like my children can play, and I want the environment to be a sound place. But if you want to talk about one of the number one crew of hostage holders with members is these environmentalists. And what I appreciate is that Governor Hochul was like, I don't care. Because sometimes I don't find that they're I don't know if rational is the right. They're just not one to make.
They're very passionate.
And they're just not. They don't want to make concessions to anything.
And to that end, they've been on a losing streak for the last year, whether it's a pipeline, whether it's the delay in Cap and Invest, whether it's delay in the All-Electric Buildings Act, whether it's what happened in the budget with the Climate Act. It's the inability to get things like PREA across the line, restrictions on toxic chemicals in beauty products. And to me, I don't know where they get the juice moving forward. Why would someone be responsive to them in the future if they're not going to be responsive to them in an election year?
I think you make very good points.
Thank you.
But I also think,
Dave is sometimes right.
A broken clock. I always say this. A broken clock is right twice a day. Say this. Me and my husband say this about people all the time. We'll be like, you know what this person said? And I'll be like, well, a broken clock.
Sure.
Twice a day. No, I find that with the advocacy groups, when they start losing their momentum and their mojo, they join other coalitions and they make other coalitions. Like right now, if I was in the environmental world, I would rock heavy with DSA and do a little coalition and educate DSA on why some of these issues are really important. For a while, criminal justice had a chokehold on people. And under Hochul, I think criminal justice, it's important, but the chokehold is not as... It seems right now it's like election year, DSA, the mayor's crew. It's a group of people that are really running things and have a good group of folks. And I think if they could join forces with other folks, they may help other people be a little bit more boisterous and effective.
I don't think this is going to happen, but is there any circumstances in which, after the primaries have settled down, that the legislature... I began by saying I don't think it's going to happen.
I believe in manifestation. I won't even cancel. Cancel. I don't need that bad juju. Cancel. No, because everyone has elections and this is an election year and we need to make sure that the governor stays the governor if you're a Democrat. If you're a Republican, the Republican members are probably going to help Bruce Blakeman. So I think everyone's busy in their respective camps and that's what they should be focused on.
Is that because you don't want them to open up
I don't want to look at anybody. Let me tell you all the people I don't want to look at. Members, other lobbyists, advocates, staff, and guess what? I bet you they don't want to look at me either. People are tired. Nobody wants to look at each other. Nobody. I normally bother people like, I have a meeting tomorrow, and normally I would like call someone and bother them. And I'm like, I'm not even in the mood to get cussed out. Like, I won't even waste this person's time. People are burnt out. People need times with their family. They need to drink. They need to work out, lose that, like, session budget weight. Like, people need time.
You mentioned you think the budget's going to play out the same way next year. Do you think the legislature is going to respond the same way? Because
I think this year people got irked. I think this year, 2 months without a paycheck. Like, I got a nice savings account, but 2 months without a paycheck is pretty steep. I think people are going to get irked. And I think the governor is playing a dangerous game that she should just be a little bit more mindful. Look, I don't think the governor's intent was for budget to go this long. I really don't. I don't think that was her intent. But you have to be mindful of the type of things that you say are your priority and their difficulty level. I want to fight the trial lawyers. Difficulty 10 plus. It's just like certain things. I want to like change some of the deadlines for climate stuff. Difficulty 7. There's just things that I think there should just be a proper measurement of like the difficulty and the corralling that's going to be necessary to get people on your side for it.
And then the governor was sort of absent from the final week of the session. There was no Hochul.
She don't care about that.
Exactly. But we did hear from the Attorney General on the bill you mentioned earlier, surveillance pricing, and
I hope I still get my discounts, which if I listen to business counsel, I will not. If I listen to certain people.
You're a discount shopper?
Big Mama loves savings. Okay.
Clipping coupons or negotiating? What's your...
Okay, a couple things. No, I don't negotiate with like workers. So if someone comes to perform a service at my house, I refuse to diminish their livelihood. I refuse to do that. But you know what I love to do? I don't want to tell you guys.
What do you do?
All right. Go on Macy's, you're looking at stuff. Check out. Put it in your bin. Leave. Close out. Don't check out. Just put it in your bin.
Online.
Online. Get them waiting. Getting them wanting you. Hey, Shontell, sure you don't want this? Here's a 10% discount. Here's a 20% discount. Hot damn, I'll buy it. I am queen. Oh, I really don't want to tell you guys this secret. So I have Sirius FM.
Oh, I know where this is going.
You know where this is going?
Only because I'm on my parents' account and my mom does the same thing every year.
I'll be like, I cannot afford the $60. I am paying $5 a month for 12 months. I cannot afford more than $60. I have to cancel my, and they'll be like, please don't go here. Okay, you can get it. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Oh, how do you think the rich stay rich?
Well, I felt very proud of myself recently when I negotiated my Spectrum internet down from $80+ a month to $20 a month. They could have just...
I know. No, wait. They have a special plan. They have a special cable plan.
I told them I was going to switch to Verizon Fios.
Well, that would be a poor choice because Spectrum provides wonderful internet and cable and voice services, and I love Spectrum. Charter Communications.
Well, I stayed a customer, so hopefully a portion of that is going to their good lobbyists.
We are very happy to have you. We are very happy to have you.
I just talked him down, and
I do that all the time. I do that if I do it all the time. So, I'm nervous because the business groups tell me that this bill is going to diminish my chance and my ability to do some of this. Well, not the ones where I'm proactively finagling, but like where the company is based off my history trying to give me discounts and do things for me. I don't know. I didn't have anyone that represented that cared about it. So I didn't really lobby or educate myself on it. But I'm nervous because the mails I got from business counsel looks like that's not that legislation's bad legislation.
Well, if the governor signs it, we can do some sort of fundraiser for you.
I hope the governor does not sign it because of what the business council is telling me. We are in danger, y'all. All my penny conscious people, we are in danger.
Well, and that's me.
And why would you pass this bill? Why would this bill be a 2-house bill? If all session y'all been talking about affordability, and then you're trying to take the thing to make life affordable for us.
Well, they would say because they're using these personal data to charge some people more.
Well, then stop that.
That's what they say they're doing, and that they are preserving
Yeah, but
discounts
I
and
don't know.
coupons.
Business Council is telling me otherwise, so I don't know. Maybe we need to have Heather or Paul Zuber on here to explain, because I'm just telling you, I like a good discount.
Well, they're just going to
Everybody loves
self-immolate
it.
on the show and say that we got to light ourselves,
Self-immolate. Wow.
light themselves on fire, because their hair's always on fire anytime the legislature wants to do anything.
I think, let's be clear, the legislature always wants to do something. They do whatever they want to do. Like, this is the Wild Wild West. Like, this is basically like, you know how I feel.
How about plastic bags? Our lives didn't turn into chaos with the restrictions on plastic bags. And if you believe the debate at the time,
I
it's going
thought
to
it
be
was
pretty rough.
regressive. I thought it was regressive.
And has it been in practice?
I know I can't find no plastic bags when I need bags to do certain things around my house. I know.
I'll hook you up.
Like, you know, like the other day, there was something stinky. I was like, babe, do we have a plastic bag? No, we don't.
I got some compostable bags for you.
Are the streets cleaner because there's no plastic bags now? No.
Well,
I feel very passionate. There's certain things I just feel very, like when I'm passionate, I'm passionate. You know what I'm saying?
it's
Something I'm kind of passionate about. So I saw, because, you know, sometimes Dave will send me like, hey, let's talk about this. What do you think about the bill that changed mommy to gas station au parent or whatever? Like, do you think that was a necessary bill? Do you think it's silly, like how the Republicans have been talking about it? Do you think, understand where they're going with it?
I think that whoever wrote the sponsors memo had not read the actual bill, and they gave the most woke justification for it.
It was crazy.
As opposed to simply saying, for the purposes of surrogacy, this will help provide clarity and simplicity in a area that is ripe with problems and controversy. And instead, they're just like, what is this? I don't know.
Because they were like writing all this stuff, and they're like, this is for people. I think they did mention surrogacy and people who have assistance with reproduction, which I could have also read that as anyone who had like IVF, IVI. Like, because when you do like all these, when you're in the world of like infertility, you got to sign all these documents, and it's always like gas station au parent, like blah, 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 blah. This is when, like, you know, when you're going to pass a bill, your sponsor's memo is key.
Yep.
I would have read that sponsor. I was like, what is this sponsor's memo? I would have had my staff rewrite that sponsor's memo the minute I knew it was going to be like a two-way bill. Ouch! Because you just let the Republicans go into the framing of like, whoa, now mommy can't be mommy and daddy can't be daddy. And it's like, we're not saying that mommy can't be mommy and daddy can't be daddy. But like, if there's surrogacy or like, you know, maybe same-sex couples, like, we should kind of change the language because it's appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not brain surgery to predict what's going to...
Don't say it's not brain surgery. Don't say that. I mean, it's just common for an election year for sides to hijack news with, I don't even say propaganda, but like heightened.
If you're going to set it up on a tee for them, you have to expect they're going to knock it out of the park, which is what the Republicans did.
They knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
They absolutely knocked it out the park. The Post was just like rubbing its hands, you know?
With 4 bylines on the story. Like they had broken the Watergate scoop. They needed to bring out all the guns for it. Make sure you got a quote from Claudia Tenney.
I have a question for you. Serious question.
Sure.
How do you feel about all these, like, Knicks fans?
I don't like it.
It is so not authentic.
And I don't like the Knicks fans all these elected.
Well, fall back. My father's a lifelong couple things I'm upset about. I don't hear a lot of hoopla, and I love MSG. I don't hear a lot of hoopla that, like, the tickets for these Knicks finals are, like, ridiculous. Like, ridiculous. We care about working people. This working person couldn't get a ticket.
But a lot of that is because season ticket holders are reselling their tickets because that's how they pay for their season tickets, is if they do make the playoffs or get big games, that they sell those for a profit to cover their other expenses.
Shameful. I don't like when these electeds are like, oh, go Knicks.
Yeah, Kathy Hochul took a big L in my book.
I'm not gonna go there.
Talking about that 1993 finals team. Like, yeah, I can name people who are on the Bulls as well. Horace Grant, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen.
I just like I think there's something like, a Jamal Bailey, obviously lifelong Nick fan. Like there's certain people like you like correlate with like, okay, they're like Nick. Oh.
From the LCA show you didn't go to. I borrowed this from Joe Spector for my Zoran Mamdani bit.
Frazier.
Yep.
I don't even know who that is, but okay.
Walt Frazier.
You know who my person was? Not my person, but my family's person was Patrick Ewing. Big up,
You and a lot of people. He was a pretty big deal.
Big up. We love
I thought you were going to
Patrick
be
Ewing.
like Anthony Mason. That was our guy.
No. I mean, no, a lot of people actually love Carmelo Anthony when they think of the Knicks. Yeah, well,
I like him from college. I liked him for Syracuse.
And then, like, Charles Oakley can't come to the stadium. Oh, what did he do? Did he cuss somebody out?
He had some sort of run-in with James Dolan, I guess.
One thing about James Dolan, when he ban you, he ban you.
Yep.
Well, session was bad. I'm going to say this. I really didn't appreciate last-minute bills that got slammed into an omnibus. And
like technical corrections?
No, I love technical corrections.
Like technical corrections to tax rates?
Some people may say bailouts. Whatever you want to say. I'm going to get my lick back. Just remember, everybody.
So you want to talk about Resorts World some other time?
No, I don't want to talk about Resorts World because, I represent the Mets Casino. We stand by what we put in paperwork. If we put a tax rate, we're going to stand by it and make sure the people that need to get paid, like Naira, actually get paid. But, smoke and mirrors, whatever. Okay, let's see what happens this year. Hopefully Resorts, who's the only functioning casino downstate, but they're the only functioning casino downstate. The other casinos don't go live until about 2030, but they can't pay their obligations. Makes sense. Okay. Knicks in 5.
Staying alive.
Well, and then I'm really disappointed in you. And you have moved, I might take you off the summer barbecue list. I think I might have to take you off the summer barbecue list because you've moved to an associate. Like I'm getting news.
Well, I'm going to give you a call because the Zoom's going to hang up. But we've been speaking with Shontell Plummer. She's a partner with Tusk Strategies.
I might have to put you on pause for a little bit on this podcast too.
Well, thank you for making an exception for this episode.
So disappointing. Goodbye.
These personal wars about Democrats and Republicans, I think y'all are all good people. You just have your politics wrong.